Welcome to New Zealand Rugby, where sportsmanship, strength, and Kiwi pride come together. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss the top plays and the latest hot news from the field. The recent match between Ireland and South Africa at Aviva Stadium once again exposed deep issues in how international rugby manages set pieces, particularly scrums. The 24-13 result in favour of South Africa was not just a victory for the Springboks. It was also a stark warning about the shortcomings in refereeing and the consequences this has on fairness and the overall quality of the game. Analyses by former player Andrew Dunne, alongside insights from former coach Matt Williams, paint a comprehensive picture of these discrepancies and their impact on gameplay, tactics, and player selection. The most striking aspect was how South Africa exploited loopholes in the laws and the referee's indecision. Set pieces, which are technically meant to restart the game, became a strategic weapon for the Springboks to dominate Ireland. For instance, the repeated penalties against Ireland's key players, Andrew Porter and Paddy McCarthy, in scrums clearly highlighted the disadvantage that seemingly minor infringements can create. When referees fail to control off-target throws or other breaches of law, teams like South Africa can use their physicality to apply pressure without relying on technical skill. This is precisely Dunne's point. 140 to 146 kilograms monsters can dominate scrums without needing to run or pass the ball effectively. My personal reaction to Dunne's observations was a mix of surprise and disappointment. Surprise at the sophistication of South Africa's exploitation of legal loopholes, showing that international rugby is not just a physical contest, but a subtle tactical battlefield. Disappointment stems from the lack of strict law enforcement, especially on seemingly minor details that have major consequences: the angle of the scrum half's feed, shoulder width spacing, and ensuring the ball goes into the correct channel. When these details are overlooked, matches favour physically stronger teams rather than those with superior skill and strategy. This clearly runs counter to the sense of fairness that rugby traditionally upholds. Another interesting point is the response from other nations, notably France. The LNR's introduction of new refereeing directives to restore fairness and clarify decisions shows that solutions lie not only in criticism, but in concrete action. They focused on closely monitoring how players feed the scrum, establishing a clear standard that teams must follow. This not only levels the playing field but improves match quality, forcing coaches to select players based on genuine skill rather than sheer muscle. This situation also prompts deeper reflection on the role of referees in modern rugby. As Dunne points out, many referees focus on superficial infractions, such as height in tackles, while neglecting core scrum principles. When the initial phase of the scrum is not strictly supervised, it leads to abuse of physical power rather than a skills-based contest. Fans and players alike perceive this as unfair, leaving the team being dominated with little recourse. There is a fundamental contradiction here. Rugby is a skill-demanding sport, yet if laws are inconsistently applied, skill is overshadowed by brute strength. Furthermore, Dunne's reference to World Rugby Law 19.15f highlights a curious paradox. Clear laws already exist governing scrum feeds, but enforcement is so lax that they are almost ignored. This reflects a reality in international rugby. Laws exist, yet referees' authority and responsibility are not fully exercised. Sophisticated law loopholes become widespread and unpunished, distorting tactics and creating a negative image for fans expecting fair and exciting matches. There is also a sense of melancholy about the sport's progress. Historically, scrum halves strictly adhered to feeding straight, but now many subtly bend the law. This demonstrates tactical creativity, but also suggests that international matches are gradually losing fundamental standards. It's like a distorted picture: skill matters, but power and law-bending dominate. For me, it's a warning that rugby could go off course without strict intervention from governing bodies and referees. I also sympathise with Matt Williams' point that set pieces were never meant to dominate a game. This reflects a fundamental view: laws were designed to ensure fairness and restart play, not to become a tool to alter the outcome entirely. When set pieces decide matches, the game itself becomes distorted. To me, it's a wake-up call. Without adjustment, international rugby risks becoming overly physical, overshadowing skill, speed, and strategy. A positive note is France's move to change how set pieces are monitored. The LNR's clear directives for referees, from supervising scrum feeds to managing ambiguous situations, exemplify how an organisation can restore fairness and improve match quality. This gives hope. Not every game needs to be dominated by strength or clever rule bending. When standards are clear and consistently enforced, teams must develop skill rather than rely purely on muscle. I see this as a necessary step to bring international rugby back to its true fair play spirit. Ultimately, this story is a lesson not only for referees and players, but also for fans and rugby enthusiasts. It reminds us that sport is about more than results. It's about how the game is played, fairness, skill, tactics, and teamwork. When matches hinge on unchecked minor details, the game no longer reflects the sport's spirit, and victories become distorted. Every match deserves respect both technically and ethically, and only when laws are strictly enforced are these values preserved. Overall, the Ireland versus South Africa match was a clear illustration of the challenges facing international rugby: inconsistencies in law enforcement, the excessive influence of physicality over skill, and the need for adjustments to restore fairness. Dunne and Williams' analyses serve as both a serious warning and a reminder of rugby's core values: fairness, skill, and tactical acumen. These principles matter not only to players and coaches, but also underpin fans' trust and love for the sport. Personally, I feel that only when referees perform their duties diligently and governing bodies actively oversee law enforcement can international rugby maintain the balance, excitement, and fairness it rightly deserves. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the New Zealand Rugby channel so you won't miss any top matches or the latest news. Catch you later.